And our KZN Secretary, ANC Youth League, Kathrada Sabelo, joins us on the phone line, and in studio we have Kathrada, political analyst, to further unpack this. A very good evening to you, Mr. Kathrada Sabelo. Thank you so much for joining us here at AN7. Now, at this moment, do you fear legal repercussions for the disruptions at the memorial that came despite the court interdict?
Well, as the ANC Youth League, we believe that we have obeyed the court order that was issued by the Durban High Court. We believe that we have complied with every segment which we were requested to comply with. Remember, the Durban High Court had instructed us to instruct our members not to disrupt any proceedings of the memorial service. And we did so. We did so with two statements yesterday, and we did so today in the morning when we got to the memorial service, and we spoke to the members, and we also spoke during the address by the ANC Youth League at the memorial service, asking them to be tolerant and asking them not to disrupt the memorial service. So we don't believe that we have violated the court order, and we therefore don't believe there would be any repercussions. However, we must say that we were also disturbed, and we were also disturbed by the unfortunate incident that happened towards the end of the memorial service, where we saw some mourners who disrupted the speech of the former finance minister, Comrade PG. We say as the ANC Youth League that if there are any members of the ANC Youth League who are involved in this, we will then have to issue an investigation, because it's not everyone who was wearing a T-shirt of the ANC who is a member of the ANC Youth League. We'd have to verify, and we have to then take them through a proper process of defying instructions of the organization. But at this current moment, we as the ANC Youth League believe that the purpose of the memorial service, which was to deliver messages to the mourners and the entire nation, was indeed achieved. We believe it was a huge success, albeit the minor disruptions that happened in the memorial service. We also want to say that if you would look at the video of the memorial service and look closely, you would notice that the disruptions start when Comrade PG is speaking. Some of the utterances that he was making, we do believe, did indeed provoke the members of the ANC Youth League or the mourners who were there, who then started speaking. But you must remember, it's not only those who were wearing ANC T-shirts.
Now, from the footage that we're seeing, the ANC Youth League seems to have disrupted that memorial, seemingly outraged at Gordon's reference to brown bags of money. Do you believe that Gordon should instead approach the police if he has proof of these so-called brown bags? That's why the ANC Youth League reacted in that manner.
Indeed, that is our belief, that a senior leader like Comrade PG, if he knows of people who are dividing the ANC using bags full of money, he should go to the law enforcement agencies. But let alone, we have not even heard from the leadership of the ANC at the highest level saying Praveen has come and brought information that there are people who are dividing the ANC with brown envelopes. We just view that statement as a direct attack on the ANC leadership, which has been synonymous with Comrade PG, who at every platform, especially at memorials, he starts attacking the leadership of the ANC. So it is things like that that provoke hardcore supporters of the African National Congress, who end up then getting provoked and respond in particular manner. But it was indeed unfortunate that there was a certain level of disruption at the memorial service.
And I'm just going to bring the conversation into studio. We are joined by Mr. Kathrada, political analyst. And now, Mr. Kathrada, we're hearing from Mr. Sabelo discussing that Gordon should have approached the police if he has proof that there are such things like the so-called brown bags that the ANC is getting currently.
I mean, it has become a signature song for many to allege corruption and allege that certain people are being bribed, but they never approach any law enforcement agent with evidence that can lead to a successful prosecution and conviction. And whenever people making such allegations, it's high time that we as South Africans need to hold them to account, that whenever they make an allegation, they must adduce substantive evidence to support such an allegation, but also they must take the action that they are required to take in law, and that is of going to the law enforcement agencies. Whenever they do that, whenever they fail to do that, we really need to be questioning as to what is their motive. But reflecting on the events of today, this is nothing but the chickens coming home to roost. You cannot expect to receive what you yourself are failing or cannot give. We saw Pravin Gordhan, who over a lengthy period of time has been running a defiance campaign. And he was bound to come to this point which he did today, of he himself being defied, and he just didn't know how to handle it. The question that must be asked of the Kathrada family is that, having allowed in the first place that the death of Ahmed Kathrada, a struggle stalwart, somebody who spent 26 years on Robben Island fighting for freedom, how could they allow his death to have been used in the manner that it has been, whereby matters that are unrelated to really his life, people have been seeking to bring their own interpretation as to what he would have said or what he would have wanted, when he's not saying so in his own words, because he can't speak for himself now. So the family itself, they need to reflect that this tour of heavy memorials, and taking into account that Pravin Gordhan is an aggrieved party by his own account, by the way. He's an aggrieved party from having been removed from the office of, or as the Minister of Finance. Was it a wise thing to allow him to be addressing the memorial of Ahmed Kathrada? And more so after having taken or supported the step which sought to gag the ANC Youth League from attending on the fear of what they were saying. And the question is that, had the Youth League not attended today, would his speech have been the same as it was today? Would he have perhaps been more defying? Would he have been more making allegations that can never be substantiated in law? Or did he become restrained because the Youth League was in attendance? And we saw that, whenever he tried to make those allegations that are unsubstantiated, certainly the Youth League responded in kind, and there just wasn't anybody who could rein them in. But that becomes the law of the jungle when you yourself, when there's lack of boundaries, invites lack of respect.
I'm just going to have to hold you over there. We are joined by Thembinkosi Josopu, ANC NWC member. Thank you very much for your time. What's your response to Gordon's jib at ANC unity at the Kathrada Memorial in Durban today?
Okay, no, I think from where we're sitting as the ANC clique, we have the view that today's memorial lecture, it started well. There was a message of unity as were given marching orders by the NWC of the ANC. We have the view that some of the things that were said at the memorial service per se provoked a reaction from a certain group of ANC members, which was unfortunate. But we have the view that moving forward, speakers in those gatherings will not or will avoid to provoke certain portions of the crowd that are participating in those memorial services.
And now the ANC Youth League KZN disrupted that memorial, seemingly outraged at Gordon's reference to brown bags of money. Do you believe that Gordon should instead have approached the police if he had a proof of these so-called brown bags?
The ANC Youth League did not disrupt the event today. As I said before, that some of the things that were said by the speakers provoked or required a response from a section of the crowd, and that's what happened today. And indeed, as you are saying, that if there are any allegations of brown bags, plastic bags, someone must go to the nearest police station. And we know very well that there's also an issue with the public protector of the deputy minister that said that he alleged that he was offered money. So of the view that let's just allow the process to unfold. As that has been asked, it has been called for a review. Let's wait for it. And from there, we can then have a full opinion as to what must happen.
And some suggest that the ANC Youth League KZN should not have disrupted that memorial, and that is also politicization of memorial service that the Youth League has slammed. What is your response on that?
No, it is quite simple. For every action, there is reaction. You will notice that in the past two memorial services, they have been used as an event to bash the president and attack the president in particular and those that are supporting him. So I have the view that today's incident, it did not happen out of nowhere. It was a reaction to those that have been bashing the president. So obviously, if there are those that are attacking the president, you will have those ones who will be defending the president. So we are saying that in the spirit of unity, both groupings should just focus on the unity. Let's stop attacking each other in public. Let's stop personalizing things, but let's focus on what we must build. That is the economy of the country.
And now, KZN Secretary ANC Youth League Kathrada Sabelo is still joining us on the phone line. Now, Sabelo, some suggest that the ANC Youth League in KZN should have not disrupted that memorial, and that is also a politicization of memorial service that the Youth League has slammed. What is your response to this?
No, like my leader in the NWC, Comrade Joseph, has said, the ANC Youth League did not disrupt the memorial service. We do believe that the mourners who were there were provoked by certain utterances by Comrade PG that made them to respond to with a certain reaction. Now, we are of the view that indeed they should be tolerant. We should start to sit down and engage, as we have said as the ANC League, and have said openly in the memorial service, that we are starting a process of engaging with the leadership of the ANC, in particular Comrade Pravin, and the citizen movement, to start and have deliberations, because these attacks that are always used in memorial services, in particular by Comrade PG, is the boiling point where some people who are supporters of the ANC will start to say, no, but we cannot continue to allow Comrade PG to insult the leadership in this particular format. Thank you.
All right, I'm just going to go back and just ask. Gordon continues to voice anti-ANC sentiments despite the warning from the ANC NWC. Do you believe that the party will take action against Gordon for his continued defiance?
No, it is quite very simple that if defiance of the NWC of the ANC continues by senior members of the organization like Comrade Pravin Gordhan, who serves in the ANC, I have the view that if the NDC of the ANC allows him to act with impunity, that is going to create chaos in the organization. Because tomorrow, if I, as Tembingus Joseph, I publicly defy the calls of the organization, I would not expect to be disciplined, because Comrade Pravin was allowed to act with impunity. So therefore, I think that the NDC of the ANC, it must act so that it can set an example for all of us.
All right, Mr. Kharima, let me just come in just closing your closing remarks on this whole thing. ANC saying that it wasn't a disruption, Gordon had provoked them, and that's what happened and panned out at that memorial service that was in Durban.
Look, I think it was a wake-up call for both Pravin Gordhan and Dr. Zweli Mkhize. We could clearly see that they had no influence of any kind whatsoever on the crowd that was publicly displaying that defiance of them. So if anything, I think it's a signal that they have got a long road to go, and their campaign leading towards the 2017 elective conference of the ANC, it means that they have a lot more work to do to be able to win the hearts and minds of the rank and file members of the ANC. So they've got a long road to go. But I think it's going to be difficult for them for as long as they've never publicly retracted their utterances following the cabinet reshuffle. You know, we know that Dr. Zweli Mkhize, uncompelled, he found it necessary to issue a statement that they were not consulted and that it did not agree with the reshuffle as it was. And that unfortunately has put the party into disrepute. He has never publicly retracted that. Hence, we could see today he couldn't address them And in fact, by his own admission, he was not even built to be on the program there, but they were just not interested in listening to him. Pravin Gordhan, on the other hand, for him saying that, look, he's going to the 18th of April, he's going to be in Parliament, and clearly because he has stated that he's an aggrieved party, you can give credence to the allegations or the statements by both Musi Maimane and Julius Malema that they have got a greater section of ANC MPs who are going to vote with them in the motion of no confidence. And unless people like Pravin Gordhan categorically come out to support the statements by the Chief Whip of the ANC, Jackson Tembu, as well as the Secretary General of the ANC, Kwete Mantashe, in what they have said, that there can be nobody who can vote against what the party stand for. They are the ones that now carry that burden of having to dispel that myth and to dispel the assertions by Malema and Maimane that a great section of the ANC members, and the same thing will go to the likes of Derek Hanekom, for example, who we know that they are still members of parliament, they are aggrieved parties. Are they going to be voting with opposition in defiance of the party? And there can be no guarantees unless they themselves state so, that they will not be in defiance. Right now, take it for as given that they will be defying and voting with opposition to just simply register their, their contempt for the ANC processes, and that can only harm the ANC. So will the ANC act before the 18th, or will they wait and tolerate ill discipline as we have seen? That is for them to judge.
Thank you very much, Mr. Khadima.